The arena needs a big change, and I have just the solution which I think you'll want to hear. There are lots of issues with PvP in general right now, but for a moment, let's just pretend that every time the hit marker comes up that you've done damage, and the blocking with the sword works every time, because I want to talk to you about how we can make the arena great. I've always said that what every game needs is co-op. Even for single player games, just give me a friend to play with, mergers in the cutscenes like what happens in Saints Row 4, and whoever gets to the cutscene trigger is who's in the cutscene. But most importantly, what every game needs is a competitive multiplayer gameplay loop to keep it fresh, because PvE becomes predictable over time. Real players, however, are what keeps things fresh, even on a map years after it's come out. Unfortunately, the arena isn't giving us that experience that makes us want to keep coming back because there are some big roadblocks stopping it. So if we want to make the arena the place it can be, then we need to address a few issues specific to the arena, giving it the overhaul that it deserves. There are 3 problems with the arena right now, but I have some solid solutions to all of them. Problem 1. Catching the winning team. Problem 1 is the big one. It's too easy to get ahead in silver and too difficult to catch up with the winning team. What usually happens is one team farms another team while holding onto the chest, and there's no incentive to attack this team because they only lose 1,000 silver for sinking. They'll also fight you back, meaning the points gained during the fight don't really amount to much of a difference. Some teams just won't sink in a short 15-minute match anyway. Even if one team gets ahead without farming, rivaling that team's position on the scoreboard is a futile mission, which usually leads to crews giving up. Essentially, you end up playing for the first portion of the match and seeing where you lie on the board, and if it's even worth continuing at that point, or you just want to go make a cup of tea. Problem 2. Matchmaking. Problem 2 is you get such a variety of skill levels in the arena that most of the crews don't all see the correct thing to do to keep the lobby balanced. For example, if an AFK or a newer crew is being farmed, none of the other crews will go and attempt to sink the crew doing the farming or join in to keep their score even. If one team is miles ahead, the crews won't try and focus on sinking that crew multiple times to take down their score. And rightly so, because the arena match time isn't long enough for multiple sinks. You'd be lucky if you can even get one sink on a good crew, let alone multiple, and enough of a score disparity to make it even worth it. This isn't usually such a problem in other games, but in Sea of Thieves you only have 5 crews, and if even one of them is brand new, that's 20% of the lobby. 2 crews, 40% of the lobby. You see where I'm going with this? Problem 3. The chest. Problem 3 is that the chest is pointless, literally and almost physically. It's worth only 1,000 silver for the duration of the match, and there isn't much use fighting over it. The best thing that you can do with it is load it onto a ship that doesn't want to hand it in to give an extra chance of keeping the combat between the ships, and then handing it in at the very last moment if it's entirely safe to do so. The bigger the score difference, the less this chest is worth putting any effort into. Those are the problems that I see with the arena, but let me expand on that a little bit more with the solutions as well, and perhaps you can see how the arena can be even better. Solution to problem 1, catching the other teams. Think about the problem of ships getting too far ahead for a moment. If one team has 10,000 silver and you only have 1,000 silver, you need that team to sink 9 times without them gaining any extra silver before you're even drawing on the board. You can argue that the points gained during sinking another ship, but let's be honest, they'll stay roughly the same, especially between ships of even skill trading shot. Now you can see why this is an issue. It means that it looks like an absolute waste of your time to even try to get ahead of this ship, but the solution is something simple and involves using a mechanic already in the game around emissary flags. The solution is, when you sink a ship, they lose 50% of their silver, which is tied into an object such as the flag. Then you can hand that flag in. This both keeps with the looting booty aspect of the pirate game and provides some competitiveness to it, because not only do the other ships have an incentive to hand this in to get ahead, the ship that was sunk can regain their points by doing the same, and even if they don't, they can attempt to sink a different ship. Let's look at this from a mathematical and competitive point of view. There are 5 ships. We'll ignore the ships in the middle of the board and focus on the first and the last place ships, which is where the catch-up problem is at its biggest. The leading ship has 10,000 silver. The trailing ship has 1,000 silver. For this example, the trailing ship is capable and hungry. They sink the leading ship, who are dropped down to 5,000 silver, leaving a bounty of 5,000 silver floating in the water for the trailing ship to potentially hand in. This now provides an incentive to fight over for all ships, but if the trailing ship hands this flag in right now, they're going to be on 6,000 silver, putting them in first place. This, however, also gives the ship that just sunk incentive to go back for what they just lost, and pride or revenge if it gets handed in before then. The new leading ship is now worth 3,000 silver, which means the ship that was originally leading could add 3,000 to their 5,000, taking back first place, though the bounty is still worth it to all the other ships in the lobby. This will make whoever is the biggest and best team in the lobby a target for all of the other ships, adding to the risk versus reward factor, because now, realistically, sinking is no longer an option. Solution to problem 2. Matchmaking. Player-based numbers for the main game and arena aside, Any competitive side of a game needs an elo system based on performance and wins to keep it as balanced as possible. Right now we have nothing. Even putting players of equal trader reps or sale time would be a huge improvement because there is no balance. It makes zero sense to put brand new crews against a veteran crew. Before you sound off and say, well, they should come back when they're better, that is matchmaking. But with that, there isn't a standard on when someone is good enough, especially when you're playing against players of all skill types. Solution to problem 3, the chest. Get rid of the chest entirely into its own game mode. I love and hate that there's a PvE aspect of the arena, but the chest in the arena doesn't work. If you want to keep it, at least scale its value to be worth handing in at all times, and give the ship carrying it a penalty of some kind like the crying chest so that you don't try and gatekeep it. I think the chest would be far better suited to a point system like hand it in 1 to 3 times and your crew wins kind of deal, where you don't gain any additional points for attacking another ship. It's purely based on how many chests you hand in. I know how great of an idea having a PvE avenue in the middle of a firefight is, but if you really want a competitive PvE experience, then something entirely new needs to be thought up. Something like a race to dig up the most treasure, solve the most riddles, find the most chickens, complete a tall tale the fastest, or something where PvP is disabled would work, but mixing the two half-heartedly in a time-limited game mode does not work. It was tried with multiple chests and it just made everyone run, and we get enough of that in adventure mode as it is. Look, I don't profess to being some kind of wizard when it comes to numbers. I'm sure there are better percentages here that would work better. Perhaps you lose more silver as the match goes on. This is just an idea right now. But the arena is broken and it needs some love. Let me know what you think about these ideas in the comments below, or come find me on Twitch 3 days a week. I've been ToeJam. I've been the Temporary Ships Captain. I'll see you on the seas. That's bomb.
Spike down B.
Arrow.
Scanning ahead.
30 seconds left.
I am the hunter!
Spike planted.
Kimbo house
Player
one.
standing. One enemy remaining.
Shoulder.
Good
Oh
job,
my
Silver.
god.
You're suck. You're sick, man.
So clean.
You're
That
so
arrow,
sick, man.
I literally said this was a minor.